Is that?
I'm calling to order the Locke Foundation board meeting for November 23rd, 2015 at 6:40 p.m. I'd like a roll call, please.
Deborah Mendel.
Carol Wu. Jay Correa.
Eileen Leo.
Stuart Waldhall. Brock Alexander.
Honey Lynn, Joyce A.
We have a quorum. Item on our agenda is the consent calendar, which includes August and September meeting minutes.
We don't have minutes for September.
Because that meeting was canceled, right?
Because he wasn't.
We didn't have a quorum, it was just open discussion, and we didn't,
We didn't have a quorum for October.
You are correct. You're correct. September was canceled. I think we didn't meet.
No, the meeting for October was canceled. We arrived, but we only had
Oh, okay. At any rate, we don't have any September minutes.
Okay, so we just have the August.
Yeah, we just have all that. So that, I'll correct that.
After you have read them, are there any comments?
Yes.
There were 6 board members present that day. Any comments from the board members who were present that day, which included Joyce, Honey, Stuart, Clarence, Deborah, and Dustin? No?
Why, I could approve the minutes.
You moved to approve.
Move to approve the
One
minutes, yes.
second.
No discussion.
Ms. Esch, we're ready for discussion?
Wonderful. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to make a comment before you approve your minutes. That's a new thing. In the past, you've not allowed me to make any public comment for this agenda item. To refresh your memory, and I would like to see it recorded in your minutes, that the reason I'd like to know the official reason why your September minutes are not included. Is it because you did not post publicly the agenda for that meeting? And so the meeting was held, but it was held in violation of the Brown Act. I'd like to see that included in the official
So is your
minutes.
allegation that the September meeting was held in violation of the Brown Act? I don't recall attending the September meeting, but
I've got the whole thing on tape, you can look it up on YouTube also. And Mr. Wu advised, he asked 3 times to Mr. Miller, who was present at that time.
that was October.
That was September. October, you held a circle here. You locked public members out of the meeting and held discussion for 5 or 10 minutes while we were locked outside. The public was locked outside. And then you exited out and several of the members went to
Thank you for
Key
your
Street.
comment.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, we can go to approve the August minutes. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
So moved.
I guess I'll abstain.
August minutes passed. Approved. Next, treasurer report.
Okay, the September treasurer's report was tabled for September. The October meeting was canceled. So we have, this isn't in the package, there are 3 loose pages. Our profit and loss, January through October, there for you to look at. And one is our income, expenses, and then the expenses are rather long. And then the third page, we just got these, so you might want to take a look at it, because these are just current today. Our assets.
Any public members like the budget?
I will say, while you guys are looking at our current balance
You're welcome.
is 46,000. Our Locke Foundation balance as of November 23rd is $46,378.35.
Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Second.
Excuse me?
That was Honey made the motion. I seconded. Okay, thank you.
Any discussion on the board members? Do you want to make a comment, Ms. Esch?
Yes, please. Can you tell me how much money is being spent on the common ground area, lot 159? Or has been so far this year?
I'm not sure, but
It's not a
It's a
Q&A.
comment.
It's a comment. It's
Remember
not a
Eileen's
Q&A.
comment.
We're not to answer it.
I'll have to check with the accountant.
Okay, right here it says Locke Community Park Monument, $481. Materials and building supplies, $945. Tile expense, are you planning on putting tiles in lot 159?
No, I think the tiles.
I
Hey,
didn't,
yeah, I think it's a public
it's
comment.
public comment, and
It's not a
so
question.
just remember, it's not a question or answer. Even though the public mentions,
Sound set up.
makes a statement in form of a question, it doesn't mean that we're having, Q&A, because this isn't what public comment is about.
Okay, I know that you never want to answer my questions. You answer other people's questions, and you have 20-minute long discussions with a parks representative who sits in the audience. I don't understand why it's so difficult to answer a question regarding the common
I
ground
believe
area.
the tile expense has to do with the Memorial Park tiles.
Okay,
Do you have a comment you want to make? Because these are all questions you can
yes,
ask.
I can
Okay.
form it I can make it a comment. My comment is the Locke Foundation, guided by Mr. Walthall, on March 21st of this year, removed the sidewalk from lot 159, of which I own a portion of, and so do all of the homeowners in the town. We were not given any information that you were going to do this. You removed the ADA accessibility to my two properties.
Yes, I believe you've made that comment in front of me.
Yes, and I haven't heard any response from you in writing or your lawyers, and I'm gonna have to take you to small claims court if you don't put the access for handicapped people back to my two commercial properties.
Thank you for your comment.
You are welcome.
So we're on treasurer's report, and that's what we're discussing,
Right.
and that's what we're accepting comments on, am I correct?
Okay.
Yes.
So we have approved the treasurer's report.
No, we haven't voted yet.
All those in favor of the treasurer's report?
Aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose? Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. The third item, C, we have discussed this item before. The San Francisco Chinese Culture Center is a major supporter of the Locke Foundation. They have brought several hundred visitors to our town in the form of tours and have paid us for the tours. And this is their 50th anniversary of their organization's existence. And they had an event and produced a program book, and they asked us if we wish to buy an ad to support them. Likewise, many families in the Culture Center have purchased tiles in our Memorial Park. So I have strongly encouraged in a reciprocity measure that we support the Chinese Culture Center in San Francisco by paying for an ad in their program booklet.
Can you tell us a little about the program? Are they having a celebration? Or is it something we should attend? Or?
They had, it's over, they had a banquet. I mean, this has been on the agenda since September and October. They had a banquet and had several hundred people at their headquarters in Chinatown, San Francisco. It was called the Bliss and Harmony Celebration of 50 years. And since they were a supporter of our centennial and they purchased an ad, we wanted to reciprocate in support by buying an ad in their booklet. So here I am asking for formal approval. We have not paid them yet, and they have not asked for their money yet. I would like to make a motion to support that.
What is the size of the ad? And is it printed in black and white or color?
I'm waiting for them to send a copy. It was in black and white on the quarter page. Any other questions?
I think Daryl said so moved, I seconded.
So
Since they are supporters of
It's
our
been moved and
Locke
seconded
Foundation.
that we support the San Francisco Chinese Culture Center at their 50th anniversary program book with an ad for $500. Because they have been a major supporter of Locke and they continue to bring busloads of visitors here. And they purchased an ad in our program booklet. So in terms of reciprocity, we'd like to do the same support for them.
Good, I'd like to point out, we did budget $1,500 for such,
We did budget
yeah,
$1,500
for a variety of support.
Yeah,
for the-
because usually if a nonprofit supports us in any program, when they have their own program, they will likely ask us to support their program.
As a point of order, since it should have been an action item, but then we already made the action in the past. Daryl, maybe you can like this. I have no problem with the cause. I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's something we need to support. So,
Well, we haven't funded it yet.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We have
And that's what we're getting the approval for here.
Right.
And so we're approving it so that when they ask us for the money, we can send it to them.
So as it's, he's just saying, as it's listed here, this is appropriate for us to vote to take an action on that.
Yes.
Correct? That's what you're asking, am I right?
Correct.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all he was asking. Call for
Anybody
that.
make a proposal? Darryl made a motion
I seconded.
and Joyce seconded. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of funding this support, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion is passed. The fourth item, I will let Stuart describe.
Okay, y'all have a copy of the text, proposed text for the Davis Sons of the Golden
It's
West
here in a
Marker.
single sheet.
I noticed that you only have one race of peoples mentioned in this wording, and you've got it mentioned 3 or 4 times. I'd like to see all 23 countries of origin who were living here in the early days, and the possibly George W. Locke, who was the founder of Lockport, mentioned. And the fact that in 1895 and 1896, Lockport was mentioned in the San Francisco Call newspaper and in the Sacramento Union newspaper. That's 20 years prior to 1915. Your wording gives the impression that the town was exclusively Chinese when it was a multicultural town for many, many decades, and still is today.
Thank you. James?
Just to kind of clarify a bit of misconstrued history, Locke was never considered to be an exclusive Chinese town by most people. It's been referred to, actually in the back of my book, as exclusively Chinese, but that was inaccurate. It's mostly the idea that the people who had businesses here, who lived here, were almost all Chinese, and they spoke a particular dialect of Cantonese. This wasn't a multi-ethnic community. There were people from other countries who periodically boarded here, but never were part of the town. So the best that there was maybe a Japanese harbor here. You know, this building here, which was the Japanese boarding house. But to the Chinese who lived here, this building was considered to be outside of town. It wasn't part of their town. And that's what's always been so unique about Locke, is that this was a haven for the Chinese who lived here. So hopefully that will clarify things. I totally agree with this. This is wonderful.
Right, back to you.
Take a vote on it since a motion is on the floor to approve the text that was presented.
As a question, because there's some people that will just make up a history of the town. Did we have I don't even consider myself an expert in this language of this. Can you speak of who did the editing and fact-finding to it? Do you know what?
Well, this has been almost a year-long project,
Yeah.
which I've bounced off a number of people. Not only historians, such as Jay, and James too, but I also had writers on board to help with the language. Native Sons was actually before I added the header here and changed the number, it came back from Native Sons with only a couple changes
We let them preview a draft.
Great.
in punctuation. So the Native Sons of the Golden West are satisfied with the text. It's a little bit longer now. That will affect the size of the plaque, which will affect the size of our pedestal. So I wish I could give you a report on some of the nuts and bolts on the presentation, but if this is approved, then we will know for sure the final size of
Ask a couple of questions. Everything on this page is in line with the National Historic Landmark application, I believe. We've talked about that, right? I mean, you referred to the national, you mentioned today that you referred to the National Park Service.
Yeah.
So there's nothing here that is not in line with the National Park Service. And then I'd just like to remind everyone that that paperwork was produced and vetted by the National Park Service in order to make Locke a National Historic Landmark, which, as we've discussed many times, is the highest historical designation in the United States of America. And in order to become an NHL, there are teams of historians in Washington, D.C. And almost all of those historians are doctors or PhDs in history. These are highly qualified individuals whose life work has been researching and writing and vetting histories written about the United States of America. And so what is on this page, and really, it can be traced directly to folks with those kinds of qualifications. So I would stand behind this language, with my life.
Thank you.
So,
And thank you, James Stewart, that's what I was.
And in the back of this building, you notice, we just unearthed the National Historical Landmark Certificate, which I framed and mounted on the wall now.
Yeah,
In
this-
1990, so it has been
Yeah.
official.
Yeah, these aren't slouches, they're not amateurs, they're not armchair
No, I
historians.
understand they're
Yeah,
professional.
these are people who
Researchers.
know their stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. So.
Okay, all those in favor of
Did we get a motion in a second?
Yes,
Oh my God.
Jay,
approving this text and forwarding it on to the Native Sons for the next step of the monument production. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passed. Thank you. Communications, I'm not sure what we have here. Wayne, as you know, will be having major surgery the week after Thanksgiving, so we wish him the best, and so he's not here tonight to explain any comments from the executive director. Attached in your packet is the annual registration for organization with the Secretary of State. No action is required there. Second item of communication is a letter from Chinese American Council of Sacramento. And Joyce Eng, who has been serving on our board, taking the Chinese Cultural Organization seat for 3 years, has announced that she is stepping down as their representative, and in her place will be Honey Lung, which will be seated at the CACS chair. I want to acknowledge Joyce's years of service on our board, and she and Honey were co-chairs of the May Centennial event, so I want to express our appreciation for all her efforts. In addition, she is a volunteer docent for the Locke Foundation. Let's give her a hand.
Thank you so much, Joyce.
Honey, to be the representative from Chinese American Council of Sacramento. We have the California League of Park Association. I think okay. We are currently a member, and we have renewed our membership in the California League of Park Associations. Like many foundations, we support the town of Locke, and like the Angel Island Foundation, which loaned us the exhibit for the past 6 months, they support Angel Island State Parks. So it's important that we belong to this organization and stay in touch with other professionals to do exactly what we do. Any other communications that we know? Old business, the boarding house concession contract. I've been renewing the boarding house concession contract with state parks is for us to submit an interpretive plan to state parks, which we have not done so for as long as Locke boarding house has been in existence, I guess. And Mark has been helping us write the draft for the interpretive plan, and we are ready to submit it, right? Is that true? Or perhaps you want to explain
It's always been a requirement apparently for an interpretive plan to be included in part of the concessionaire package, but that hadn't been done before. So this is initially the first time, and hopefully everybody's had the opportunity to review the text.
The public hasn't. Do you have any copies for the public?
I myself do
Can we
not.
let the speaker continue?
Yes, thank you.
Can the public get a copy?
Thank you,
please?
please be quiet and let the public
The,
know.
And so interpretive plans are designed to be just a plan, but they show intent and objectives for the park to have as it goes forward. And so once again, I would encourage you to review it if you haven't at this point in time, and to know that that plan can be changed and updated at any time, but it is a part of the requirements. So I don't know if it's been submitted yet or not. So.
No, it's not as far as I know.
I think when you're planning to submit it. I mean, after submission to Parks, Parks will have a chance to review it and
They'll
ask.
review it and comment and.
Yeah, for further questions, and this is step one. So they have not initiated
Since this is
concessionaire contract.
since this is a
with us
brand new
yet.
document, and interpretive plans are usually go through almost a year to create for a park, and they require the input from multiple individuals. And since this is almost a unique property in the park system, our interpretive plan will probably be a little different than everybody else's. But it should be reflective of the standards that are used throughout the park system on how interpretive plans are developed and implemented throughout the parks.
So this should have gone at least for initial review.
I'll send it to everybody if you haven't received it, but
Yeah, no, we
Wayne
received it.
sent it to us.
Months ago.
Yeah.
So other than maybe some typos, it should be, like I said, but it's something that can also be updated. It doesn't require the next concession contract to be reviewed. You should be viewing it as a living document that can establish a pathway for future development of this park. So.
Thank you. Esch.
There are 5 members of the public present today, and you guys are a public agency, you're supposed to...
There are 6 members of the public present.
Are you a member of the public?
Yes, I am.
Yes. They answered your questions.
If you continue to libel me, I'll see you in court.
Am I liable
Okay.
to you?
I don't
You
think
just speak to the board.
Do you have a comment? Laura?
Yes. Can we have the packet materials in the public?
We're not approving it tonight, are we?
No.
No, but we should still be a part of the process. We're the public. And you guys are a public agency. It's a Brown Act violation again.
Eileen,
The board
anyone,
members represent the community, so.
anyone can request public information through the, mail, they can.
We're
write
supposed to
the-
be able to have it
You're
at the
interrupting,
meetings too.
we're discussing through the board members now, Martha. You have your own.
As I was saying,
Sorry.
if anyone needs, would like material that the board that is public information, they can request it
Yeah.
through me, through mailing to the 1085 post office box to the Locke Foundation. We don't we're not reviewing this tonight, this
This is
concession
the
contract.
status.
Yeah, this is a status
Okay.
report, correct?
Mhm.
Thank you.
So it's step one of the long process, it
Yes.
sounds like, and we're just getting going, and we'll come down the line.
Public.
Okay.
Thank you. Subcommittee updates?
Okay. What are our subcommittees? The website. I don't know if you guys ever go to that website. It sure is good. There's a lot of stuff in it. If you do go to the Locke Foundation website, we have a great webmaster, and he could add and change things and update. And he is reactive. He's not proactive because he's not sitting on our board. And, we get about 15 hits a day on it, which is, okay, I'd like to see that they'll get a little bit more action there. But John Hughes is very helpful. He's I think down the road, our website can be a lot more of a tool for us.
Excuse me, on that subject, Stuart, we have who is our current contact person to reach John for updates and so forth for the website? Because I remember when John took it over, it was like, okay, like, I don't want to hear from 10 board members,
Right.
do this, do this, do this, that there is one person that brings that stuff to him.
I was under the opinion it was the executive board, which would be 4 of us. My line of communication has been wide open with him, and he responds very quickly. So to answer your question, if there's one particular person, I don't know.
I don't know, Joyce had referred him to us, but I don't know if she wants to continue to be the main conduit for communication with John or not.
Well, that wouldn't make sense with you
No.
quitting on us.
Well,
But I know John has responded to
Stuart and
Stuart
Eileen,
very
right?
promptly and
Yeah.
favorably.
Well, Joyce, or Eileen and I
Yeah.
do produce
Both
the
of you,
newsletter.
yes.
I
you
mean,
know.
we don't make weird demands on him.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
But we
just
could
bring
say
that
that
up.
if people want to make suggestions, that run it by Eileen or
Okay.
by,
Yeah.
and we'll make
Yeah.
sure that.
That makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
because at the time, I did ask John, and he did want it down to 1 or 2 people. He didn't, you know,
Want
for
the whole
to
board
manage
contacting.
all these things coming at him, so.
He's just done everything. Anything you want him to do, put a counter on it, any kind of videos, use other web links. We have Gene's very nicely edited lecture by James and Jeff. It's gotten hundreds of hits, so it's a good way to get stuff out there. I just want to drive people there a little bit more.
Okay.
So membership is slow. I'd like to work with Eileen a little bit about doing a little bump for that. Although we did, I don't remember the exact figure, but we have raised several $1,000s in the budget through the membership. But it's rather than dribs and drabs, I'd like to really see another good push. The demo garden's being put to bed. The newsletter is going to be produced in 10 days or so,
Yeah.
8 to 10 days. And the Memorial Park is going to sleep for the winter. I'd like to take advantage, I'll bring the figures in, but I'd like to take advantage of the winter and finish up the bordering and putting new decomposed granite on the ground. And maybe a little cleanup. And other than that, I can't think of what the other subcommittees.
I wanted to give a brief report of the final centennial year activities. We had the Locke reunion dinner on October 24th. It was well attended. We had 150 guests. Good time was had by all. We almost broke even. On the other hand, we made over $1,000 on the raffles that night. So we're in good stead. We're in the black with that dinner. And some of the attendees have asked for a similar event next year. So it'll be up to next year's board to plan. The Angel Island exhibit has closed. We had a final lecture on Sunday, November 15th with Grant Din, the communication, public relations officer for the Angel Island Foundation. He gave a nice PowerPoint presentation about the history of the Angel Island experience, the exhibit, and also cited some Delta residents and families that went through the Angel Island experience. So now the exhibit has closed, everything has been returned safely to the Angel Island Foundation. So I want to thank everybody for their support for all of the centennial activities this year.
Excellent job on the home year.
All right.
Really wonderful.
How was the lecture? Was it a good attendance?
Maybe 20 people.
It was here in town.
Any other questions?
Where was it held?
Here at the schoolhouse. Yeah, we had a PowerPoint show. It was very informative. Okay, ready to go on to new business? Nomination forms for next year's Locke Foundation Board of Directors were mailed out to all property owners, and the deadline for response is December 7th. We have a few nominations received to date, so after December 7th, we will tabulate the nominations. We will ask the nominees if they wish to serve, and these nominations are for Locke property owner seats only, residential owners and commercial owners. Any questions?
I have to make a correction on your dates.
Okay.
The nomination forms were sent out, and the deadline for receiving the nomination forms was the 16th of November.
Oh, okay, so that has closed, and so have ballots been sent out to property owners?
I'm sorry, wait. I'm dealing with both
I understand.
both boards, so let me just double check this again. Yeah, the nomination forms were actually due in on November 9th
Okay.
For the foundation.
for the foundation. So Wayne Miller has told me that he received a couple of forms returned.
We have them,
Right.
There are 3 seats open amongst the property owner category.
And I'm only aware of 2 that have agreed to accept their nominations.
That takes place in December too, is that when we seat them typically?
Yes. Well, no, that's not when we seek new members. We seek them in January because it's for 2016.
But
So
the
we will
election.
announce in December's meeting who's been nominated and who's accepted and who will be sitting. And if indeed we require a ballot sent out because there are competing nominees,
Right.
then that will be announced then also.
Okay.
But the winner is decided based on the number of ballots cast, not the number of property owners eligible to cast. I mean, they need to return the ballots to us, right?
Yes, and ballots will not go out if no one's been
of course.
accepted nominations
Right.
except for 2 uncompeting people. So ballots will not be necessary if no one's agreed, so.
Any
Okay.
questions? I guess it's
Public comment.
time for public comments. Ms. Esch?
I would like to note that the last time the Locke Foundation and the Locke Management Association distributed electoral ballots for the property owner seats was in December of 2009.
Okay. Any other public comments? We're not having a December meeting. You all know that.
I'm not aware. No, I forgot. You told me, I forgot. Okay.
This is the last meeting of the calendar year.
Okay.
Do we have any other items that we need to discuss or bring up or propose?
Are you on announcements? Is that for,
We're finishing A on new business, right? Are we now announcements?
Yes. Announcements.
I just mentioned at the Moon Cafe Gallery in conjunction with the Angels of the Field, bringing Christmas to the children of farm laborers is having their benefit music and art event on December 5th It's a little less than 2 weeks away at the gallery. It runs 2 o'clock to about 10 o'clock. There's a lot of music and a lot of nice people coming.
Anything else?
With Chinese American Council in Sacramento, we want to thank the Locke Foundation for your participation to our event at Goat Mountain Celebration on October 30th. Well attended,
We enjoyed
excellent,
it.
It was fun.
and thank you for your participation and attendance.
Okay. Anything else? No? We want to make a motion to adjourn?
Well, there's public comments not on the agenda.
I don't see any hands in the back, so I guess there are none.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
All set.
Not.
Do a vote?
All those in favor of adjourning? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all.